Good evening, Dolphins Nation. Welcome to the premiere episode of the FINS Bandwagon on the FINS Talk Sports Network. I'm your host, FINS Paz, Evan Posner, and with me tonight, and will be for the foreseeable future, is Fish Tank. Hank, how you doing, Hank?
What's up, Evan? I'm having a great night. I've been getting a little more tan, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of sunshine. It's been green around here lately. It's beautiful.
I know.
What's going on at your end?
I'm doing well. I just had a fun event. I'm still a little tipsy, but I'm doing well. But I miss being in Florida. I've already lost a little bit of my tan. I was there for about a month, but I'm keeping well. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you everyone for joining the show tonight. Smash that like and subscribe button. Good evening, Steve. Thank you for always joining all the shows, and thank you to Bobby for letting us have this show. I'm super excited to be here with my Dolphins dad, Hank, and we can't wait to talk about all the positive things that are happening with the Dolphins. So I just want to start off and ask you, Hank, since you're quite a busy man and you do FINS Talk today and everything like that, tell me why you want to do this show with me.
I wanted to do this show with you because I want to be on the bandwagon. It's just that simple. I want to be on the bandwagon, and I wanted to take a ride with you, Evan. Yeah. And I think we can cruise through this nice and have a good time. Right. I'm tired of the negativity and all the naysayers. And every time I listen to you, you always have a positive spin. And I was like, you know what? I want to be part of that. I want to feel that energy. I want to feel positive all the time. I need to become part of something great because this team is going to be something else.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to the season. Thank you, Hammer Time, for joining the show. We really appreciate it. No, honestly, yeah, it was really a pleasure. Like, I've been watching you for the last couple of months. You guys have really turned me into this. Like, if it wasn't for you and Bobby, I wouldn't be doing this. So it's really an honor and pleasure to be doing the show with you.
Oh,
so I really appreciate it.
I love it. I love it. We're gonna have a great time.
Honestly, like you're totally right. Twitter, you go on Twitter, you see what's going on with the Dolphins. Like, I think it's that mentality of the glass half empty. You and I are always glass half full when it comes to the Dolphins. Like, there's so much to look.
I don't mean to interrupt you so quickly, Evan. I do that a lot, though. My apologies.
Go for it. Interrupt me as much as you want.
The glass is never half full or half empty, and I'll tell you why. It's always completely full. It's just half of it's either air or water.
That's a good response. I appreciate that. That's
perfect. It's always full. So we're starting off 100% full positive Zoom.
I appreciate that. You're 100% right. Thank you for correcting me. I do appreciate that. But no, thank you, Tamara, for joining on as well. I believe relation to Bobby's mom. I really appreciate you taking the time. Honestly, guys, it's a pleasure to be here. We really want to get people on the bandwagon. There's plenty of room. There's been many naysayers. Yes, we've struggled over the last 20 years of not making the playoffs, but this year is going to be different. Honestly, with the players we have and what we're going to be talking about here, we really hope that we can convert a lot of these naysayers into really positive fans. Thank you for everyone joining. FINS Talk Bobby. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everybody. So I just wanted to get your feel since the game took place afterwards. So the first place I wanted to start is what was your thoughts on the last preseason game before we get into the 53-man roster? What was your feel on the last game? What did you get out of it? And one aspect I want to focus on was just the leadership of McDaniel, which is really a positive mindset we had after what happened with Jenkins and with his sudden passing and then Tua's reaction. Like, what were your thoughts and how did you feel after the last preseason game? We didn't have to hear your thoughts yet.
First and foremost, I didn't know the gentleman myself. So I want to start with that. I didn't know how much he had done until they started talking about him. And, I cheated and I looked things up a little bit on what all this man has done. And it's quite extensive if you take a look. So I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate what everybody already knows, though. So I thought that was great. What was your other question?
Oh, but just the reaction on how McDaniel found out before the game and how his reaction, how emotional he was after the game, what kind of leadership he showed, and how you found the game, how you found the overall game, like how they can maintain their composure.
Yeah, he was all broken up. The whole time he was talking, he was all broken up. And the game was awesome. It was off the hook, off the chains. How about that first throw? Everybody had been waiting for it, and pow, it happened, see?
Yeah.
He shut everybody up with the very first pass.
Oh, it was underthrown though, right? That's always if people think it was a beautiful 50-yard throw. People, oh, it's underthrown. You want to know what? He still threw it over 50 yards. And he went to get it. That's Tyreek Hill's job.
Hey, it was complete. Okay.
Yeah.
And guess what? After that, he took another strike. Bam, right after that.
Yeah.
And then touchdown. So guess what? Call it what you want, but they came out the gate and said, we're going to throw it. And they did. Yeah. They didn't even play any tricks, games, nothing. He ran a straight go route, and Tua saw he was covered up. He threw it to the inside of the field, right down the middle, and all he had to do was swing left and pick up the pass. Yeah. And he did it. Yeah. It was a beautiful reception, too, by the way. Yeah. I don't want to just give it all to the pass because it wasn't. No. It was a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And call it underthrown, call it whatever you want. I've looked at plenty of tape on Mahomes where Tyreek Hill is running for the ball, coming back to get the ball, and all that. So, you know, Tyreek is an unusual dude, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah. No, I honestly, it just showed what they're capable of doing, and just add Waddle to that, and add Wilson to that, and add Izukama to that. Just imagine if they're running for. Honestly, like, it's just, that's the positivity. Just be proud of the fact that that's Tyreek's job. The job is for Tua to throw it, and it's a job for Tyreek Hill to catch it. If it's underthrown, it's his job to go back and catch it. That's the job. So,
absolutely.
Did you have any other key takeaways of that game? What are your thoughts on Mostert? What were your thoughts on the defense? Just to give your feel, because I know you had some concerns on the defense during Finn's talk today. That was your concern.
I liked the defense. They came out and played a good game. I mean, come on. The score tells it all. Yeah. I mean, the score says it all. The defense came out. They were working nice together. They were getting a lot of push on defense. They were getting after the quarterback also. I thought they did a great job. I thought offense, defense, I thought special teams. I thought the whole game was just complete. It was a complete game. I don't think they could have actually, you know, there's a couple things. They could have stopped that one long run on defense.
Yeah.
That's always been one of my concerns on defense still until they prove they can stop the run. And protecting Tua is my other concern. But when I watch the offensive line, it was completely different than it's been the past 2 years. I know you took a look at it, and it's completely morphed into something else. And it's something, you know, you could see the footwork and how they've been trained differently than they were the past 2 years.
100%. 100%. On the offensive line, you had even Austin Jackson. You know what? He didn't have the best game, but you want to know what? He's still developing, and he did well. But one interesting point that after the game, which I think to stop the run and to add to Ingram, who just joined the bandwagon, will be Trey Flowers, which I think is also a very smart pickup. Like they're trying to fill in the holes, and I think they're honestly just look at it as a positive. Any depth that they can add to this defense to cover themselves, I think is only going to benefit us there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you said that missing tackle, like that actually fell on our most recent top pick, which is Channing Tindall. He was having trouble making some tackles, but you wonder why he's still fast. He just needs to learn how to tackle as well. But just
that kid is lightning.
Yeah,
lightning in the bottle, they call it. Right?
I think he's overzealous, right? But that you want a kid. He's like a kid in a candy store. You know what I mean?
I'll take it.
And they'll develop him, Before we can move on now because today was a very, very big day. And thank you, Dave, for joining the show. And thank you to Steve, Matt, everyone joining the FINS Talk Network. Don't forget to smash and like that subscribe button.
What up, Dave?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
What up, everybody?
Yeah, that guy Dave is one. If it's a Dave, I think it is. It's my oldest and greatest friend. He's a Bucks fan, but we won't knock him for that one.
No, I don't knock anybody because if you're on the FINS bandwagon show, you know, guess what? We'll have you on too.
Yeah,
we can have you on. Come on, and we'll have you on.
I like to remind a close friend of mine, my cousin as well. Like, if you're emailing me about the team and you're not a fan of the team, you're jumping on the bandwagon because they're top of mind. Now, even if you're sharing the information just for my knowledge, you're still interested. So let's go. Go Bucks too. Yeah, you're on the other coast. If we want to talk about the 53-man roster, which is ironic that we're starting the show today and we have some big news. I know we just shared with you recently because I know you've been busy today, but if you take a few minutes, take a few minutes if you want, or I can go first. Tell me what your what your thoughts are. Like, who of all the people that were cut or you don't see on the roster right now, let's talk about different positions. Let's look at the wide receiver core. Let's start with there because that was an interesting place with some of the key cuts. What are you surprised by? Are you surprised that they kept 5, or are you okay with that at the wide receiver core?
I'm good with the 5 on the wide receiver core because that was a tough cut down.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised they cut Bowden Jr., to be honest with you. That was a complete surprise to me. And because I don't know, I felt like he was in the mix. I can't say it was a complete
as a returner. I thought that's where special teams was going to help him stay on the team.
Yeah, I thought he would stay also, just like you.
Yeah.
And no bueno, no, didn't happen. No good.
Yeah.
So, but I do like. I do want to say, I kind of disappointed that Preston Williams didn't stay healthy and didn't really get a chance to show what he could or couldn't do. I mean, he didn't do anything great in the preseason. We all got that. But the kid was doing great. I wish him nothing but well.
He'll probably become a Patriot just for the heck of it. He'll be going to sign Devontae Parker in no time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had you want to talk about Byron Jones? Because I guess he made
the
3-man roster, right?
But ironically, Steve just made a great point. He must have hacked into our private chat before with me and Bobby, and I think you had just joined. I had mentioned that they kept Gesicki. I was surprised how many they kept 5. They kept as many tight ends, and I said, probably they're going to treat Gesicki as a 6 wide receiver because they kept 5 tight ends. They really believe in this Tanner Connor. They really believe in Smythe. They really believe in Ethan Carter. They really believe in Gesicki. Like, I think they're just, maybe that's the way they want to play. Maybe they just want to have a lot of blockers, maybe for the run game. But no, I don't see a bad thing about it. Like, let's look at a glass half full there, like in full just with the mayor. But there has to be a reason for it. Maybe it's the coverage. Maybe because they're really going to focus on the run. But that's a lot. That's a lot. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate it. Dolphins do rule. I appreciate it. But no, what are your thoughts on that? Keeping that many tight ends?
Hey, Gene, good to see you.
What are your thoughts on
going to New York?
What are your thoughts on keeping that many tight ends?
I'm surprised that they're keeping 5 tight ends. I was flabbergasted when you and Bobby told me about that. So I'm still kind of absorbing that a little bit, that they're going to have 5 tight ends.
Find a positive on it. This is the bandwagon. Find a positive reason why we have room on the bus for 5 tight ends.
You know why we have? I know I'm getting to it. We have 5 tight ends, but they're all playing a vital role. And like you said, Gesicki's going to be used more as a wide receiver than he will be as a tight end. I think they're keeping him like a dual threat back and forth. And they're going to confuse a lot of defenses when you have all those tight ends. They're not going to know whether it's a run, pass. They won't have a clue of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's my positive on it, especially when they're trying to cover who again? Hill, Waddle, out of the backfield, Edmonds. Whoever's coming out of the backfield, they're trying to cover them, is my point.
Yeah. Steve mentioned about injured reserve. Yeah.
What's that?
Steve just mentioned that Tanner's going to injure reserve, but I read that Greer wasn't so sure about that. They're not sure if they're going to put him on just yet. Steve also mentioned, but Ethan Carter being a fullback tight end, but that's really going to be in special plays where he's going to be a fullback because Ingold's going to be the focus there. So
yeah, Ingold will definitely be the focus. Yeah. But I still think it's great that they kept all as many tight ends as they did. It's a little unusual to me. Yeah. I was totally shocked. But they have great talent, and I can see what McDaniel's trying to do. He's trying to bring in a tight end group that's going to confuse everybody up the middle. He wants to stop letting people load the box and come in after Tua, and by bringing out different talents at tight end and then suddenly swinging Gesicki out, you can have 3 tight ends in at the same time. You can even have 4 in.
Yeah.
How are you going to defend some of that?
I have no idea. I have no idea. So the big talk this week, and it was actually one of the top ESPN, all the top. Everyone was shocked, but Bobby and I were not, and a bunch of the other people were having different discussions last night during our draft. But what are your thoughts on the fact that they kept 4 wide receivers plus you add Ingold, but how that Ahmed and that Gaskin beat out Sony and Michelle? Were you surprised by the fact that they dropped Michelle? Does it bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. You know why it doesn't bother me? And I'll tell you, the only reason it doesn't bother me is because he was a Patriot. So we got the knowledge out of him, and we got rid of him.
Yeah. So what are your? So we didn't get to the defense yet. So what are your concerns with Trey Flowers? Because his biggest success was in New England. Is it?
I'm not concerned about Trey Flowers. He's a genuine guy.
Okay.
He's a genuine guy. I like his play. I can't knock the guy.
Yeah. Okay. Great. On the offensive line, based on what you've seen, because I know, what are your thoughts on who they kept? Because they didn't really cut. Like the big shocker, I think everyone saw just because of where he was picked. Are you surprised they dropped Kinley? Doesn't really bother me that much. I don't think anyone's going to pick him up, but
no, I
ginormous.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
They cut him, but
no one's going to take him.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
So
would you to build up the offensive line? Do you expect? Because Bobby was sharing it before, and I haven't had a chance to look at the names yet. But there's one player, I forget his name. Bobby will probably put it in the chat for me, and he'll correct me the fact that I didn't know a name for the first time in history. But he's probably laughing right now in the background. But would you go get any of the offensive linemen right now, tomorrow, that played in the same scheme, just to add them for depth purposes and potentially cut someone else? If they played in the 49ers scheme last year and it worked, would you go after one of them if they had success with McDaniel last year just because they played with the 49ers, or would you not?
I would, but who are you going to cut? That's the question. The depth on the Dolphins for the O-line isn't all that sweet. So that's pretty easy to cut somebody and bring somebody else in if that's what he wants to do. Okay. It'd be a smart thing to do if he knows there's talent there.
Yeah. So
definitely, anytime you can pull talent and put it on our team, I want it. I want that talent every time.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a talent search thing. And
there's also another connection with Waddle before we move to the defense. With Waddle and with Tua is Alex Leatherwood, who was a standout offensive lineman. He was taken too early, I think. He sort of had the Noah treatment in his draft, where he was picked in the top 15, 16 by the Raiders, but they cut him after 1 year. Would you go after somebody who still has development, or are you only looking for a veteran on the offensive line if you were to add a player?
Oh, you definitely take a developmental guy if he's worth it.
Okay.
If he's worth it, you pick him up. Like I said, again, talent. If the talent's there, pick him up if you can.
Yeah. So there was no surprises on the defensive line. We really don't, nothing was really surprising there, and neither in the linebacking core, because they've already had. So let's move to the secondary. Chris Greer says he's not that concerned, but I think the biggest shocker for me of the 53-man roster was not even cutting anybody. It's the fact that our standout was originally, we signed him a couple years ago to be one of the top cornerbacks in the league. Byron Jones was scheduled, even though he hasn't practiced, was scheduled, and we were very positive he was on the bandwagon. Now he's going to be off the bandwagon and on the PUP list until game 5, which is the first 4 games are really tough. So find a positive spin on the fact that Byron Jones is not there, and they're going to rely on Nick Needham, Eric Rowe, Kader Kohu. Who are they going to put on the other side of Xavier Howard? Like, who do you rely on? Is it going to be Needham? Like, find a positive spin on the fact that Jones is not ready to play.
I really like Needham.
Yeah.
So you could start with that. I'm more than happy to see him and Bro, because it's going to take both of them to cover.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be one or the other. I think it'll be both or a combination thereof. Okay. People jumping in and out. And X is going to have to hold his own, and I think he can. So he'll get opportunities to take the ball away. That's for sure.
Okay.
And I think it's going to. I think that's a positive spin. I mean, it's going to go our way.
Okay. So overall, based on what we've talked about so far, what was your biggest? What made you the most happy? What was your biggest surprise, and what was your biggest disappointment of who's not or who is on the 53-man roster? Like, what gave you like the biggest smile? Oh, he wasn't cut. Who was the one like, oh my God, they didn't cut him? And then which one are you disappointed that they did cut?
Well, you got Igbo. What happened to Igbo? Did he get cut?
No, they can't cut him because of his contract. They're going to get killed on a dead cap if they cut him. He's still there.
That was a little bit of a surprise, even though he was a first rounder. That was a little bit of a surprise to me. But on the positive side, he'll probably get an opportunity or two to go in and handle things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'll get some play time now, possibly. That could be good or bad. I mean, you put him in, say you're up a bunch, put him in, get him in the game a little more, get him more acclimated, keep him going. You know what I mean? And that would help and go a long way, in my opinion.
Okay. What are your thoughts before I go? Because Steve mentioned it. Or do you think they're going to play, based on the setup of the defense and Boyer, do you think they're going to play more zone coverage this season, or do you think they're going to go more man? What are your thoughts? What do you think the ideal defense is going to be?
What do you think?
Whatever worked, they didn't do in the first 8 games of last year, do the opposite. They have to continue with the zone. I think they can't play that man coverage. I don't think they're a zero blitz team. I think they just need to play to their strengths and they let Phillips and let Ogba and get to the quarterback. But I honestly I think they need to continue what they were doing. There's a reason why they kept the defense. There's a reason why they did what they had to do. For me, like I said, I'm nervous. The secondary makes me a little nervous, but like I said, I believe in Needham. I believe in Howard, but I agree with Steve. They're probably going to play a little more zone.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I love this.
That's
why, awesome.
By the way, Steve, I hope you know that until you say yes, we're going to keep on saying positive things about you because Bobby can't get you on his show, but I'm getting you on mine. So let's keep going here. So your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment of who they cut?
Yeah.
Preston Williams.
You're upset
Preston Williams.
You don't think he dug his own grave a little bit by saying he needs to get the ball? And okay, we didn't talk about this. Did you notice? I'm not trying to turn what happened in that game with the punt that he missed by about 10 feet with his fingers, and the other one that he ran away from on the second punt. Turn that into a positive, and why? Don't you think that's the reason why? That was his last straw, and that's why he was cut.
You got a great point. You got a great point. How to make that positive?
Turn that around. How is he going to explain that in his next interview?
I'm going for the guy, and you're giving me the negative on the guy.
No, I'm trying to. This is what we do. We turn lemon into lemonade.
All right.
This is not FINS talk overtime here. We don't go
into lemonade. I'm going to make this sweet and sticky. How's
sweet.
That? Look.
See, we're having more fun than we've ever had tonight. I'm telling you.
Preston Williams.
Yeah.
Preston Williams definitely. He had some skills, and that's all I was saying. Yeah, he flubbed it up, and he did put himself into his own grave. You are correct, but this is the bandwagon, and you asked me something, and my positive side tells me he has a lot of talent left. Yeah. If he can stay injury-free and correct a few things. He doesn't have to be on special teams necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Go easy on my boy. He's my dad. Don't criticize me there, boy, in the background. Come on. I'm having fun with Fish. I'm making him laugh. He's having a great old time. Fish, Bobby's coming after me tonight. Already. I told him I wouldn't pick on him. He's picking on me. I have an interesting spin for you. Here's a great question for you. So they talked about how there was actually an interesting quote, which was about Skylar Thompson, like the fact that they kept 3 quarterbacks, what he did, and they actually said something to Greer. If you're holding or McDaniel said, if you're holding your breath for a player taken in the 7th round to play like he did in the preseason, you're going to pass out. Like the fact that how amazing he was and how he won't repeat it, but how good he was, how could they not draft him? It was like a no-brainer how they didn't keep him. Whose job do you think he stole? Which player is walking away, cut, potentially picked up on waivers, or particularly going to the practice squad because they kept 3 quarterbacks? If Skylar Thompson wasn't on the team, pick one player. Is it still Preston Williams, or is there a player you saw at any position? Is it a Porter Gustin? Is it on defense? Is it a River Craycraft and keeping a 6 wide receiver? Is it might it be that you would keep instead of Skylar Thompson if he wouldn't have been like whose job did he steal? Because they don't keep no team really keeps 3 quarterbacks. So
okay. Well, let's start on the positive side of this to begin with, okay? The positive side about this is we have 2 number 2 quarterbacks, in my opinion. And the positive side is Skylar Thompson, who we all saw him in preseason. If he didn't impress you, I don't know what else the kid really has to do. I mean, talk about upside. I'd take a possible number 2 quarterback backing up Tua with the possibility of the sky in case anything happens to Tua.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, what I don't understand, and you asked me the biggest question mark was, why did we keep Bridgewater? You could have made some room, and that's the person that I think is taking the spot, not the 7th round guy that's tearing it up. So why did they keep the older pro? I guess they just want that great stability. They have a lot on this team invested, and the positive spin is on keeping Bridgewater is if anything happens to Tua, they know that they have a veteran to jump in right away. After that, they can reevaluate both quarterbacks, Skylar and Bridgewater, and at least get in a direction they want to go.
Okay. I agree with Matthew, and I actually said this in the past, that Skylar does have more upside. And like as previous shows, one of your other co-hosts said that Skylar has that Fitz magic in him. I don't know about me, but if I'm down by 14 in the 4th quarter, I'm not comparing preseason. There's just something about if you're going to use preseason as a benchmark, because preseason's our only benchmark so far, including camp. If we're down by 10 heading into the 4th quarter, based on how I know the stars weren't out there, but Skylar didn't have stars there. Let's look at the positive and the fact that maybe Teddy has that experience, but I would be more comfortable with Skylar coming into the game with the stars that we have versus him. Yes, he's young, but I personally believe that Tua will still stay healthy, and Bridgewater is more, like you said, a stopgap, something to protect them. But if we're doing well and we're where you and I know that we're going to be in midway point of the season and the deadline comes there, I think Teddy's gone. Teddy will go somewhere else. So.
Yeah, and that's going to open up, like you said, for offensive linemen or whoever we might want to pick up during the season.
Yeah. Thank you, Hammer Time. He likes your thoughts. Hammer Time's always on your side. I always appreciate that. Thank you, Hammer Time. I really do appreciate that as well. So let me. We're almost hitting the 30-minute mark, and we'll still go on a little bit of while. But let's talk about this. So, what else let's see what else. So, I want to ask you. This is a really interesting question, and then we can add to it. Give me the top 3 reasons if someone's not on the bandwagon yet, why they should jump on the bandwagon and why we're still making room for them and are on that beautiful, beautiful car above us before the season starts. We're still giving people time. What are the top 3 reasons that they should jump on this bandwagon and stop looking at, Tua's a make or break year? Like, focus on the positive. What is the reason why? Give me your top 3 reasons why you're excited and why you're proud to be on the bandwagon.
Look, this team is built to go. I haven't seen any coach come in like this and make as big of an impact as McDaniel's making. The last guy I saw make this big of an impact coming from another team was Coach Shula. Now, he hasn't – I'm not comparing them by any stretch of the imagination, so don't jump all over me. I'm just saying he's coming in with a scheme. He's coming in with a plan. He knows how to manage players of today, whereas many coaches don't know what they're doing with players. He manages them all well. He's well-mannered. He makes it all work. So that's where I'm at.
Well, give me 2 more reasons. Not just McDaniel. What are the other reasons why?
All right. And like I said, this team is built to go. You got, I can give you 3 reasons. Hill, Tua, Waddle. I can give you Gesicki. I can give you Mostert. I can give you Edmonds. I mean, I can give you Wilkins. I can give you Baker. I can give you X. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Some of these players that are going to be making great plays.
Yeah.
And if you don't think this is a good time to become a Miami Dolphins fan and be on the bandwagon, you're kidding yourself. This team is about to explode like I haven't seen in many years. This is the most talent that I've seen on paper in a long time that should work efficiently. Now, I still have the same a couple concerns, but I always have a couple concerns. But you know what? The overall picture says success.
Yeah.
Success is on our side, and success means getting in the playoffs and further.
Yeah, I could say it in 3 words, and you said it really quickly. You said it very, very well. McDaniel, Hill, and X. And what do I say? Why do I say X? Is that they announce all these players. We have a stud, superstar, elite player leading the defense.
Yep.
We have a stud, elite, number 1 receiver that we have not had anything comparable on our team on offense since Dan Marino. And then you have a coach who has a scheme that finally started to show itself in the last game, where you have Mostert running around the other side. It's just I've never seen speed like this. I have no idea how they're going to handle this. The greatest show on turf. You talked about your different animals at the beginning of the year. We have we're the Dolphins, but we have the cheetah, we have the waddle, we got a zoo there, and I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. It's literally amazing. Thank you, Alex, for joining the show. Yeah, really, Bobby's got your back tonight. He gave 10 beautiful reasons. My apologies, Bobby. I now actually have a really interesting tongue twister for you. One final question before we head out. And but I thank everyone for joining. Smash that subscribe button. We really appreciate you joining the FINS Talk Network.
Having a good time tonight.
We're having a great time tonight. We really appreciate it. You mentioned an interesting point, which opened up a great question. Take your top 3 concerns that maybe you have or that you see on Twitter about a player, about a scheme, about anything, and how you think that will become a positive. So what will make any of your concern, what will quell those 3 concerns that you've seen of either people who are unsure of being on the bandwagon, or that you might that you think, what will it take to make it a positive? Like, what formula will allow us to get to that level to make the playoffs and go forward and literally be the team we all expect?
Let's start with the cloud in the room. Tua, okay? That's always the cloud in the room, it seems. And that's where everybody worries and everybody's concerned. Tua could throw the ball. He showed you he could throw the ball. If you don't think they did that pass on purpose, as far as throwing it right off the bat to say, look, we're here. And like I said, I've been calling those 2 TNT, Tyreek and Tua, TNT. So they were explosive. They came in and blew up and exploded on the field. I loved it. What was your next question?
I was asking you for your top 3 concerns that either you're feeling.
Okay, Tua was one of them.
Or that you're feeling, that you're seeing on Twitter, or what that you feel there's a concern that you believe is a little bit of hogwash, that you think is something that, or that you feel that you think that in the end it will work out. Like, you had a concern about something. In the end, you think based on something, and what will it take for it to turn into lemonade versus just
Brandon Jones. I'd say Jones would be another one. A lot of people are concerned that he's going to be out and this and that, but I like the people that have stepped up before. They did a good job to nail it down. They weren't perfect, but you know what? They have help now. You have different players. If Rowe or skipping my brain now, if Rowe or the other cornerback.
There's Needham, there's Howard, there's Jones. Needham.
If him or Needham are in the cornerback position instead of Jones, who do we have at safety now? Holland, right?
Yeah.
There you go. That solves your problem that you had before.
Yeah.
You won't have that problem with him backing them up and those playing interchangeably between one another. I like that. There's a positive spin on that. We're missing him. The third one, I don't like to dig into the O-line right now. But I will.
Go for it.
Positive is the O-line is our worst concern, along with Tua.
Yeah.
But here's the positive on that. Believe it or not, I have a positive for the offensive line. They have moved like they never did before in the past 2 years. It might have been a preseason game, but you could see bodies moving, and they were protecting. They were making holes. They were doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And I can tell you right now, if they continue to do what they did during the preseason, Miami's going to be very explosive, to say the least, especially on the ground. We're going to have a lot of people confused. And I don't know how they're going to cover all these people. I honestly, every time I sit down, I'm like a kid in a candy factory. I'm like, oh boy. Who do we have? Who are they going to throw to? Who are they going to cover?
And you get to see them in person. And you get to see them in person. Yeah. And you get to see this in person. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm going to be there 9/11. And this is my first year being a season ticket holder. And I am going there with my wife. My neighbor from Oregon is going to fly out, and we're going to go to the Steelers game together because he's a big Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. And, I'm going to be at the stadium. I'm giving something away. I just did a Twitter giveaway.
The canopy?
Canopy. I don't know if you saw that, but I gave away a canopy.
Yeah.
And that person's picking it up on 9/11. So
very cool.
You go.
Very cool. And that actually, thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate it. Tyreek Hill just tweeted, "This is your year. Believe that." Honestly, he's just for me. Any concerns that people have, that sheds some light on it. Look at this guy. Even McDaniel was saying and Greer said today. That's the number one. No matter what you think, you have a 6-time Pro Bowler has been in the league 6 years. The guy is a game changer. And definitely. Honestly, he's going to develop Waddle into an utter superstar. They're both. I'm going to say it here first. They're both going to be Pro Bowlers.
We haven't seen a dynamic duo like this since Duper Clayton. Yeah. The only difference is these are modern day wide receivers that have crazy speed. Duper was fast for his time, but these guys have crazy speed, and it's going to have a huge effect. Yeah. And if you can't see that just from those two players alone, and then you add in other players into the mix, there's so many possibilities for this team this year. I'm totally bandwagon there, jumping on, because I think Miami's going to do a lot of good things this year, starting with whooping up on the New England Patriots.
Oh, game 1, that's going to be the biggest highlight. Oh, I can't wait for them to make. Oh God, Devontae Parker come here, you're not going to know what hit him. Xavier Howard's going to make mincemeat out of you. I'm telling you, Clayface here. Anyways, thank you so much, Hank. I think it's time to wrap up the show. We've covered everything we wanted to. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show and for commenting. We all appreciate you joining the FINS Talk Network. Thank you to Matthew, Steve, Gene, Dave, Hammer Time, Tamara, Bobby, Marky Mark earlier today. I appreciate it. Alex, we really appreciate everything you do for us as well. And Tatiana, we really appreciate it. This is the premier episode of FINS Talk. FINS Talk Sports Network's FINS Bandwagon. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have so much more to share with you next week. We're hoping to get some really cool guests on, people who are really positive before the season starts, and also maybe someone who's not so sure about where we stand as a Dolphin fans and who is not sure if they're ready to jump on the bandwagon. But it's going to be an amazing ride, and we can't wait to do it together. So we really appreciate it. So for everyone who's joined, remember to smash that like and subscribe button. And for both Hank and I, thank you so much, and fins up.
Fins up.